Yes, good afternoon to all of you. Okay, today we are going to see slip power recovery scheme used in induction motor. Slip power recovery scheme used in induction motor. In previous lecture, what we have discussed the braking of the induction motor, that is the regenerative braking and dynamic braking of the motors. Okay, so now we are going for the concept of slip power recovery scheme. So first of all, we have to know why we are going for this slip power recovery scheme. First of all, we like to know why we are going for the slip power recovery scheme. Clear? So before going to see this topic, okay, before going to see this concept of slip power recovery scheme, okay, let's look one topic: speed control of induction motor. Okay, so we have a one method, speed control of induction motor, okay, using rotor resistance control or rotor rheostat. Okay, speed control of induction motor using rotor rheostat. Okay, this method generally is used in the slip ring induction motor, that is the ring type of motors. Okay, generally this method can be used in only for this ring type of motors. Ring type of motors is nothing but the slip ring induction motors. Okay, in this case, what we are doing, we are going to control the speed of the induction motor by inserting rheostat in series with the slip rings, okay. So what we are doing here, by inserting the rheostat in series with the slip rings, by varying this rheostat, the current and voltage will be vary. It is clear. If the voltage is controlled, accordingly the speed of the induction motor is also controlled. Okay, so obviously because we are varying the rotor EMF, we are controlling the rotor EMF. If the rotor EMF is controlled, so obviously it will be affected on the speed of the induction motor also. Obviously, it will be affected on the speed of the induction motor. So, but here we are using the rheostat. Okay, by using the rheostat or resistance, what we can say, the energy is going to be wasted here. Okay, obviously, if any resistance is connected in the circuit, okay, so some amount of energy will be wasted in the form of heat. Clear? So obviously here also, by using the rheostat control method, some amount of energy is going to be wasted. So in order to reduce this wastage of energy, in order to reduce of wastage of this energy, we can reutilize this energy. We can reutilize this energy, okay, instead of wastage. Okay, for the reutilizing, we are using the one concept, that is the slip power recovery scheme. We are using the one concept, that is the slip power recovery scheme. Clear? Are you got the concept why we are going for the slip power recovery scheme? Anyone, please? Just wait. Are you got the concept of slip power recovery scheme? Hello? Sir? Again, I will repeat you. Again, I will repeat you, please. Why we are going for the slip power recovery scheme? Why we are going for the slip power recovery scheme? Again, I will repeat you. Okay, so whatever we are having the method to control the speed of the induction motor, whatever we are having the control the speed of the induction motor, sorry for that. Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, generally we are having the one method, speed control of the induction motor, that is the stator control methods and rotor control methods. Okay, in the while coming to the rotor rheostat control method, okay, while coming to the rotor rheostat control method, we are using the one rheostats, and this rheostat is connected in series with the each phase of the rotor circuit through the slip rings. Okay, this rheostat is connected in series with the each winding of the rotor circuit through the slip rings. So here by varying this resistance, okay, by varying this resistance, the voltage will be vary. So if the voltage is vary, it will be affected on the rotor EMF. Okay, okay, it will be affected on the rotor EMF. If the rotor EMF is vary or controlled, obviously it will be affected on the rotor torque. Okay, the rotor torque is vary or controlled, the speed is also controlled. Okay, this is the one method to control the speed of the induction motor. Now it is clear, all of you? Up to this point is clear? Okay, so here what we are doing here, we are using the resistance here. We are using the resistance. Okay, so by using the resistance in series with the circuit, for example, this is the supply, and if we are using the resistance across this supply. Okay, then what we are doing here, we are connected resistance as a load, means whenever the resistance is connected, okay, the energy will be wasted in the form of heat. The energy will be wasted in the form of heat. It is clear? So obviously here also we are using the resistance, so to control the speed of the induction motor, so the some amount of energy will be wasted. So why we have to waste this energy? Why we cannot reutilize this energy? Okay, so for that question, this topic is introduced. Okay, why we cannot recover this energy? Okay, for recovering this energy, we are going for the concept of slip power recovery scheme. Now I think you got the concept why we are going for this concept. Is it right? Anyone? Now you got the clear, please. Shivani. Suresh. Shivaji. Okay, so slip power recovery scheme. For that purpose, we are going for the slip power recovery scheme. Slip power recovery scheme is used in induction motor. Okay, you can see here figure. This one, this is the equivalent circuit of the induction motor. Okay, with voltage VR is induction motor with voltage VR is injected into the rotor. Okay, voltage VR is injected into the rotor circuit. Assume the stator to rotor turn ratio unity. So whatever we are having the number of turns in the stator and whatever we are having the number of turns in the rotors. Okay, this ratio will be unity. Okay, for example, the stator number of turns is N1, and for example, the rotor number of turns is N2. Okay, the ratio between the N1 to N2 is equal to unity. Okay, the stator number of turns in the stator, and finally just wait. Okay, the number of turns of the stator and to the number of turns in the rotor circuit should be unity. So we know the formula of mechanical power is equal to air gap power minus rotor copper losses. Okay, mechanical power, whatever the power is developed by the rotor circuit, okay, that is equal to, we can call as a mechanical power. Okay, mechanical power is equal to input minus losses. Input means air gap power. S into input means air gap power. Clear? So already we have derived the equations for the air gap power, mechanical power, P1, PM, and the rotor copper losses equations. So no need to go for there again. So where the PR is the power absorbed by the source VR. Okay, the magnitude and sign of the PR. Okay, the magnitude and sign may be positive or negative. Okay, that is depends upon the magnitude and sign of the PR can be controlled by controlling the magnitude and phase of the VR. Okay, so whatever we are giving the voltage to the rotor circuit, that is represented by VR. Okay, by controlling this magnitude of this VR and a phase of this VR, okay, the power is observed by the rotor circuit. PR can be controlled. When the PR is zero, okay, when power is observed by the rotor circuit, PR is zero. Okay, then motor runs on natural speed torque characteristics, because if PR is zero is nothing but losses are zero. Losses are zero is nothing but input power is equal to output power. We can say input power is equal to output power, means air gap power is equal to mechanical developed power. Sorry, okay. PG is equal to PM. So when PG is equal to PM or PM is equal to PG, air gap power is equal to mechanical power. So the motor will be rotates at the maximum speed and it will be operating the normal operating condition. Okay, it will be operating the normal operating condition. If a positive PR means if the PR is positive, it will reduce the PM. Okay, if PR is positive, it will reduce the PM. Clear? For example, PM is equal to air gap power is equal to, for example, 10, and PR is equal to, for example, plus 2, that is equal to how much? Plus into minus, 10 minus 2 is equal to 8. Okay, so again, if the positive value is increased, okay, a positive PR will reduce, sorry, if when the PR is 0, it will run the natural speed or characteristics. A positive PR will reduce the PM. Okay, a positive PR means the positive value of the PR, it will reduce the PM. Okay, and therefore motor will run at a lower speed for the same torque. Okay, the motor will run at the lower speed for the same torque. Okay. Next, when the PR is made equal to PG, when the PR is made is equal to 0, sorry, PR is made is equal to PG. So what will happening? The mechanical power become a 0 because, for example, if this PG is 5 and PR is also 5, it both are equal. So the PM is equal to what will happening? 5 minus 5 is equal to 0. So the PM is also 0. Okay, the means mechanical power developed by the rotor is 0. So thus variation of PR from 0 to PG. Okay, the variation of this PG PR, okay, from 0 to maximum 0 to PG. Okay, it will allow the speed control from synchronous speed to 0 speed. It will allow the synchronous speed to 0 speed. Clear? So means when the PR value is low, it will run at the synchronous, nearly synchronous speed. Okay, when the PR value is equal to the PG, when the PR value is equal to the PG value, so then mechanical power developed by the rotor circuit of the induction motor is 0. If the mechanical power developed 0, okay, the speed is also 0. So that's why what we can say, by varying the PR value, power absorbed by the rotor circuit. Okay, if this value is varied from 0 to PG, so the speed of the induction motor is also varied from 0 to synchronous speed or synchronous speed to 0. Clear? Next, when PR is negative, VR acts as a source of power. Okay, when the PR value is negative, okay, then what will happening? VR voltage giving to the rotor circuit, VR is acts as a source of power. PM will be larger than the PG. Okay, PM will be larger than the PG. So that is equal to what we can say here. PM is equal to PG air gap power minus rotor copper losses, or we can say power absorbed by the rotor circuit PR. If PR value is negative, okay, negative to negative, what will happening? It will become a positive. Okay, so you can substitute in this equation PG minus of minus PR that is equal to PG plus PR. So finally what we can see here, the mechanical power is larger than the PG. Okay, means the mechanical power developed by the rotor circuit is greater than the air gap power. Clear? So what will happening if PG is if the PM is more than the PG, the motor will be the motor will rotates with a speed of above the synchronous speed, okay, higher than the synchronous speed. Clear? When it is possible, when the whatever the power absorbed by the rotor circuit is positive. If the power absorbed by the rotor circuit is positive, what will happening? So PG minus of minus PR, PG plus PR. Okay, so this value is more than the mechanical power. PG is also higher. Okay, when this PG is higher, so PM is the mechanical power developed by the rotor circuit is higher, then the motor will rotates with the speed above the synchronous speed, Clear? So the polarity of VR for speed control above synchronous speed, okay, above synchronous speed is shown by the dotted line in the figure above. You can see here. Okay, here the dotted lines is representing the when the speed of the induction motor is above the synchronous speed, means the polarities of the receiving voltage to the rotor receiving voltage is changes, clear? Means the polarities will be reversed. When the rotor copper losses are neglected, okay, when the rotor copper loss is neglected or neglected, PR is equal to the slip power recovery. Okay, when the rotor copper losses means PR is neglected, so PM is equal to PG. So mechanical power developed by the rotor motor circuit is equal to air gap power. Clear? So equal to slip power recovery scheme used in induction motor S into PG. Speed control below the synchronous speed is obtained by controlling the slip power. So the same approach was adopted in rotor resistance control. However, instead of this wasting power in external resistor, it is usually employed here. Therefore, these methods of speed control are classified as a slip power recovery scheme used in induction motor recovery schemes. So already I have discussed these points. Okay, already we have discussed this point. Why we are going for the slip power recovery scheme? Clear? Why we are going for the slip power recovery scheme? So whatever we are using the method, again I am repeating this sentence because this sentence is very, very important. Okay, why we are going for the concept of slip power recovery scheme? Okay, whatever we are using the rheostat control method for speed controlling. Okay, in that method we are wasting the energy. Okay, we are wasting the energy in the form of heat. Okay, this energy we are going to reutilize. This energy we can going to reutilize. So whatever the scheme or whatever the method we are using to reutilize this energy, so that method, that scheme can be called as a slip power recovery energy scheme. Slip power recovery energy scheme. Is it clear? So here again this slip power energy recovery scheme is again classified into two types. Or two methods: Scrabius system and Kramer system. Okay, first one is the Kramer system and second one the Scrabius system. What are those? Can anybody repeat this? Anyone please? What are the two methods? What are the two methods please? Swapnali, what are the two methods? What are the two methods? Anyone? Shraddha, Shivani. Okay, yes, very good. We are having the two methods to get the energy back or to recover the energy, whatever the energy is wasting. So these methods can be called as Kramer drive and Scrabius drive. Cramer drive and Scrabius drive. Scrabius and Cramer drive. Okay, first we will see the Cramer drive. What is Cramer drive? It provides the speed control of wound rotor motor below the synchronous speed. A portion of rotor AC power is converted to DC using a diode bridge rectifier. Okay, the control rectifier working as an inverter. Okay, converts it back to the AC, and feeds it back to the AC source. Okay, power feedback, that is PR, can be controlled by controlling the inverter counter EMF BD2, which in turn is controlled by controlling the inverter firing angle. The DC link inductor is provided to reduce the ripple in the DC link current. So what we are going to here, what we are going to use here. So this is the general method for controlling the speed of the induction motor. Is it clear? So here we are using the resistance. Okay, we are using the resistance. By connecting this resistance in series with the each phase of the rotor circuit, the speed of the motor can be controlled, but the energy will become a wasted. The energy will become a waste. So in order to reduce this wastages of energy, we can reutilize this energy. Okay, by connecting this. Okay, by connecting this, by designing this Cramer system. Cramer system is nothing but it is having two converters. One is the diode rectifier. Okay, one is the diode rectifier, and another one is the inverter. Another one is the inverter. Okay, which will convert from DC to AC. Okay, this is the converter 1, and this is the converter 2. This is the converter 2. Okay, here as a converter 1, we are using the diode rectifier. As a converter 1, we are using the 3-phase diode rectifier. As a converter 2, we are using the 3-phase inverter. We are using the 3-phase inverter. Okay, this converter will act as inverter. It will convert from DC to AC. It will convert from DC to AC. Clear? So on this, whatever we are getting the output from this inverter, okay, this output is connected to the same supply lines. This output is connected to the same supply lines through the one transformer with M:1 ratio, clear, number of turns ratio. Clear? So this method, the designing of this method can be called as a Cramer system. Okay, the designing of this method can be called as a static Cramer system. Okay, since the slip power recovery scheme is used in induction motor is fed back to the source. Okay, by using this slip power recovery scheme, using the static Cramer drive, okay, so we can get back the energy, and this energy can be given to the source. Unlike the rotor resistance control where it is wasted in resistors. Okay, whatever the energy is flowing through these resistors, okay, this energy can be converted through the switches, and this energy is given to the diode rectifier, and this diode rectifier, okay, is converted to DC. This diode rectifier is converted to DC. Okay. Okay, so this diode rectifier will convert from AC to DC. Okay, and is there any ripples present in this DC current? Okay, that ripples can be reduced. Okay, whatever the ripples are present in the current, okay, that ripples can be reduced by using the one inductor, and this inductor is connected in series with the circuit across the DC through the in series with the DC link circuit. Okay, this is called as the DC link inductor, that is represented by ID. Okay, so whatever and it will make as a constant current, and it will make as a constant current. And again this DC, okay, again this DC, after inductor whatever we are getting the DC power, DC whatever we are getting the voltage, that voltage is represented by VD2, that voltage is represented by VD2. There again this uh, DC voltage is converted to the AC by using this in by using this converter 2. This converter 2 will act as a inverter. Okay, so here the power is controlled. Okay, here the power is controlled by varying the firing angles or gate pulses of these inverters, by varying the gate pulses of this inverter. Okay, so and then from the output of this inverter we are taking the three-phase AC, and this AC is given to the supply lines. Okay, this AC is given to the supply lines. Okay, this is the procedure. Okay, this is a procedure how we can get the energy back to the supply lines. Okay, whatever the energy is going to be wasted in the form of heat in across the resistors, that energy we can convert to we can reutilize. Okay, and we can give it back to the supply lines. Okay, this total system can be called as a static Cramer drive. This total system can be called as a static Cramer drive. Clear? So here, unlike the rotor resistance, so means what we can say, the slip power recovery scheme used in the induction motor is fed back to the source. Used in the induction motor is fed back to the source. Unlike the rotor resistance control where where it is wasted in the resistors. The drive has a high efficiency. The drive has higher efficiency than the stator voltage control. Okay, so whatever we are using the stator voltage control, okay, the efficiency of the stator voltage control is less than the this method. Clear? So means the efficiency, we can improve the efficiency compared with the stator voltage control technique. So drive input the power is the difference between the motor input power and the power feedback. Okay, the drive input power is difference between the motor input power and the motor feedback. So means whatever the input power is, whatever the input power is we are giving to the motor. Okay, that power minus how much power is we are giving the supply lines. Okay, the difference between these two is called as a drive input power. Okay, drive input power is nothing but in difference between the motor input power, and how much power is fed back to the supply. Okay, how much power is fed back to the supply. This is called as a drive input power. So for example, drive input power is represented by PD. Okay, for example, if the input power is 50 watt for the motor, and we are taking the 20 watt. Okay, 20 watt is given back to the supply, so the difference is 30 watt is difference. Okay, this 30 watt is the drive input power. Okay, then this 30 watt is the drive input power. Clear? Next. Okay, if we are neglecting the stator and rotor drops, okay, means whatever we are having the losses in the stator circuit and rotor circuit. Okay, so then we can get the voltage across the diode rectifier VD1 is equal to 3 into root 6 by pi into S into V upon by N. Okay, and we are getting the voltage across the VD2 means voltage across the inverter circuit 3 into root 6 upon by pi into V by M. Okay, this is the voltage equations. This is the voltage equation we can derive. We can derive by using the waveforms. Okay, by using the waveforms of the diode rectifier, also by using the three-phase rectifiers. Clear? So 3 into root 6 by pi into v by m into cos alpha. Okay, here the cos alpha is not present in the diode rectifier because there is no gate pulse in the diode rectifier. That's why the term cos alpha is not present in the VD1, but the term cos alpha is present in the voltage across the inverter, because the inverter is designed by using the thyristors. Inverter is designed by using the thyristors. Okay, but for controlling the power, the thyristor should be turn on and turn off. For turning on and turning off, the gate pulses should be controlled. Okay, so that's why the firing angle should be controlled. So that's why the firing angle, the cos alpha term is present. Okay, where alpha is the inverter firing angle and N and M are the respective the stator and rotor turns ratio. N and M are the stator and rotor turns ratio of the motor. Okay, and the source side to the converter side turns ratio of the transformer. Okay, neglecting the drop across the inductors. So means we are using the inductor here in DC circuit. Okay, whatever voltage is drop across that inductor, if you neglect that one, so we can derive the equation VD1 plus VD2 is equal to 0. So by applying the KVL for this circuit, VD1 is equal to minus VD2, that is equal to VD1 plus VD2 is equal to 0. VD1 plus VD2 is equal to 0. But apply the KVL for this loop. Okay, apply the KVL for this loop. We can get the VD1 plus VD2 is equal to 0. Okay, so by equations VD1 and VD2, we can get the S value. S is equal to minus N upon by M into cos alpha, that is equal to A minus A into cos alpha. Okay, from these two equations, from this VD1 and VD2, that is equal to, you can divide these two equations, we can get the minus N upon by M into cos alpha, that is equal to N by M, we can write as a constant value, that is the A. Okay, A is nothing but N by M. Okay, then stator to rotor turns ratio, that is the constant value, minus A into cos alpha. Maximum value of the alpha is restricted to 165 degrees. Okay, so means maximum we can vary the firing angle up to 165 degrees for safe commutation. For safe commutation is nothing but if more than 165 degrees we vary, so then there is no problem. But the turning of thyristors, this thyristor and this thyristor will be overlap. If these two thyristors will be overlap turning off time, the commutation circuit will be failure because it will be short circuited. Okay, that's why so better to not to increase the firing angle more than the 165 degrees. Clear? So for safe commutation of the inverter thyristors, 165 degrees, the slip can be controlled from 0 to 0.966, means 0 to maximum approximately 1. If firing angle is changed from 90 to 165 degrees. Okay, when the firing angle changes from 90 to 165 degrees, the slip can be controlled from 0 to 0.9666. Okay, by approaching the appropriate choice of a required speed range can be obtained. Okay, the transformer is used to match the voltages VD1 and VD2 at the lowest speed required from drive, or the lowest speed required from the drive. Okay, the VD1 will have the maximum value and VD1 is given by VD1 M is equal to Vs maximum power by En. So remember this equation where S maximum is the value of the slip at the lowest speed. X maximum is nothing but slip of the induction motor at the lowest speed. Okay, if alpha is restricted to 165 degrees, M is chosen such that the inverter voltage has a value VD1M. Means if the alpha is restricted to 165 degrees, alpha means firing angle of the inverter is restricted to 165 degrees. we can take this equation v instead of vd1 m is equal to vs maximum upon by n. Okay, vs maximum, x maximum is nothing but slip of the induction motor at lowest speed. Okay, slip of the induction motor at lowest speed into the voltage by number of turns of the stator winding. Number of turns of the stator winding, because the voltage depends upon the number of turns in the stator winding also. Number of turns in the stator winding also. Okay, that is equal to v by m into cos 165 degrees plus vs maximum by n. So m is equal to what we can write here, minus n into cos 165 degrees by s maximum plus is equal to minus 0.966 n by s maximum. Such as choice of m ensure the inverter operation at the highest firing angle at the lowest motor speed, giving the highest power factor. So means what we can say here, here whatever we are taking the value of the m, it will ensures the inverter operation at the highest firing angle. It will ensure the inverter operation at the highest firing angle at the lowest motor speed. Highest firing angle is nothing but firing angle is high means voltage is low. Voltage is low means the speed of the motor is also decrease. So that's why highest value of the firing angle is the lowest motor speed, giving the highest power factor and lowest reactive power. Okay, lowest reactive power or the lowest speed. So when the motor is running at the lowest speed, okay, it will give the lowest power factor, lowest reactive power and the highest power factor. This improves the drive, the power factor, and reduces the reactive power at all speeds in the speed range of the drive. So by decreasing the reactive power and by increasing the power factor, so the total efficiency of the drive system can be increased. The total efficiency of the drive system can be increased. Clear? Okay. Just wait, I will take the attendance. Forty-eight 62. One 48 62, 1 48 62, 6 16, 6 16, 258, 258, 13 15 20, 13 15 20, 23 24 26, 23 24 26, 28 39, 28 39, 42 47, 47, 50, 53, 50, 53, 57, 18, 57, 18, 33, 19. Okay, I will continue this lecture from tomorrow. Anyone having the doubts regarding project work for tomorrow presentation? Anyone? Anyone, please? Hello? Anyone having the doubts for tomorrow presentation? No doubt. Okay. Thank you, all of you.